Ladies and gentlemen, we are here now back and live at the one and only Wave League. I bring to you here Eternal versus Betrayal. I'm your caster, joined here by none other than our lovely two most very talented workers and employees here at the Wave League. Brian, of course, helping us stream out here, and Cinter being a huge ref, giving you guys the proper scoring and letting us know who wins ultimately in the end, since everything is based on a score system, of course. So very big shout out to them for helping us out. But let's go ahead and get straight into the game, as we're actually going to be looking at Nightlight on the side of Eternal. Killer is on Eternal's side first against the Betrayal survivors, which is going to be Colin, as we are seeing them take the first chase, and an early-ish tag around Shaq, Winter Edit, Yatos, and Sparky. A pretty solid roster from what I have seen, but right now they're up against a beast known as Eternal, aka Nightlight as well. Very well known for being a tank on the Blight as well. So very interesting to see how they're actually going to be able to play this out. Seems like we're going to be looking at a down here as Colin is unable to make it back over towards the pallet, and the first sign of the game is going to come through. Very solid start for Eternal indeed, but also very solid for Betrayal, as the chase was taken not only down towards the Corrupt side, it was also very far away from the gens, meaning that this hook right here, in fact, is also a little bit risky. They are, unfortunately for Colin, going to make the back hook as well, so no wheel out for the Betrayal survivors, extending this chase even longer. But I would assume a decent amount of progress has been achieved by these survivors. Much progress here on the bot mid, and it seems like Nightlight is just going to be camping, making sure that these gens around him aren't actually being worked on. And now he's just moving up towards the top of the map. No one working top mid. Maybe they're going to be doubling a gen, checking over on 2 right now. No, instead just going to be going straight back down, trying to avoid somebody grabbing a complete save. That's going to be the first gen of the game, all the way over there at main. Very huge gen to pop, but it seems like this very, very strong RNG with these gens bottom is going to be the focus of Nightlight's camp. And right now he's just going to be sitting in basement, making sure that nobody's actually around to completely save here for sure. Maybe a little bit of anxiety coming through from him, but it seems like he does make a little bit of mistake with his bounces. Of course, no issue, however, as he does not have to do much at this moment. He just needs to make sure that Colin hits the second state, and that he makes sure that these gens are not going to be worked, not going to be seeing a lot of potential coming in. He's going to be vaulting into a survivor, maybe going to be looking for attack, double vaulting right here. He's going to be unable to block him from getting into the basement, trying to get him in front of him, but unfortunately Yatos is going to reach that point, and they are going to get them before second state, trying to swing in front of him. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Colin is still going to be the first hook, as Yatos is going to be hopping inside of the locker for some reason, but it seems like the focus is going to be going on top of Colin, just trying to block him from the window, but unfortunately that is not going to work out for him. He's trying to take his distance forward. Maybe he's going to be able to make a pallet, and it seems like no, that is not going to be the case, as he's just going to insta-rush and he's going to go down very quickly. Yatos unable to protect him from Deli, I believe. That seems like a super poor case for these survivors at the moment, but they did end up avoiding this complete tunnel out, which is very, very good for them, as now they're actually going to be looking at Yatos running away. Going to be able to grab that stun. No damage to the team just yet, besides, of course, 1 hook, which isn't the end of the world. They can recover from this, and there is some solid progress on top of these gens, but he needs to figure out who was working this gen and where are they, and are, especially, they worth committing to. Applying Eruption to that, as it seems like 4 of the perks have actually been apparent to its survivors so far, as there's one that is, I believe, still under wraps, but 3 of them are very certain. I do understand that the survivors know that Dying Light is in play, and I do understand that they know that Corrupt is in play. However, Corrupt is completely out, trying to bump logic around these things, but it seems like that's going to be the FTP coming through from Sparky. Sparky making sure that Colin is going to be able to survive, but unfortunately that's going to be an incredibly early tag. Sparky trying to get in front of him just to see if he can maybe distract them a little bit longer, but this is going to allow a slug play to come through for Eternal, as they are both legitimately running into the same direction. An insane amount of bump right there as he slides completely past Colin, is able to grab that down. As now Sparky is not going to be in any danger, as Nightlight is just securing that first kill at 2 gens, with the 3v1 situation coming straight through with absolutely no worries in sight for Eternal. But right now Betrayal is in still a very tough spot. They were able to pop all the gens that would give them 3 points, and it seems like Nightlight is not really going to be pressuring those gens at all, but right now taking a chase with Winterhead and making sure that all 3 of the survivors are actually going to be injured. He does not have rushes here, so he's not going to commit, and is instead just going to keep himself towards the middle of the map, finding somebody almost completely out of position. They are actually going to be in chase here, trying to look for a reason to drop there. They are going to be going around, going for that survivor right there. An insane amount of bump logic and game sense from Nightlight, making sure and understanding that Winterhead is going to be out of position here. Unfortunately, being with Yatos and not being able to double that pallet right there. very well played on his side. He's going to be looking for another Dying Light stack, and he's actually going to find his Survivor right here at 3. He's trying to look for a straight shot to that, but it seems like a slight mistake was made by Nightlight, and now he's just going to try and recover it by going back over towards the gen, which was being pressured. But no, it seems like no one was directly on this gen as of right now. He's going to find that Survivor that was over there working at 8, now trying to use this pallet gem to their advantage. This is Sparky. Sparky is out of position. 5 rushes to be used. He's going to be breaking this pallet to make sure and not take any chances. Remember, it is pretty cool to do something like this. Waits him out completely, understanding that the Blight has 5 rushes. No reason to try and get jiggied here. An insane like display of just, man, I don't even know what to call that. That was just patience. Some very solid, unique patience. I don't think I've seen anybody play Blight like that before. Usually everybody just holds W key or tries to mind game something like that, but no, Nightlight just waits it out. I don't know, exactly countering that play right there is not something you think about. You don't really think about just standing still in a spot against a killer like Blight. But Sparky is going to be completely pulled off. Saved, as now we're actually going to be looking at him trying to find somebody edge map over here. That's going to be the reset onto Yatos. That is UB actually, as the slug did end up almost damaging him a little bit. Of course, he does have a slight amount of pressure, but maybe this is actually enough for Betrayal to actually reach 4K1. It's just sitting on top of this, waiting, making sure that the Survivor is not going to make much distance besides this. This is forcing them onto a very unlucky side to where they're going to have to try and play the Lunas, but no, instead they're going to be going on top of the basement and are going to be going down. Eruption coming through. They are going to scream on top of it. Both of them are going to be doubling it. Nightlight trying to run over to see if he can maybe interrupt it, and it seems like that is going to be the case, as there's not going to be much on top of this. Yatos using Sprint Burst for some reason. Instead of trying to position himself around the rocks, he goes to run deeper into the corner, losing a massive amount of distance with that Sprint Burst alone. But Winterhead is going to try and pick up that slight mistake, and is trying to not get the pickup onto Sparky. But of course, he's also going to be found out of position, trying to... Oh, he's actually going to be down in the basement. Swings down there. That's going to be Winterhead going over. Not going to be grabbing that pickup. Instead, just going to be safely taking the window, which is very good for them, as they are not going to be looking at 2 tags immediately. He needs to try and reserve and of course save the states of the survivors right now. There's somebody in the dying state, there's somebody that's also injured. If right now he can avoid trying to get completely tagged, that would be very good for them. And it seems like the pickup on through Sparky is going to work out, but Winterhead is going to be going down immediately. Not going to be going back instantaneously over towards Yatos, understanding that Winterhead has almost 0 to his name, as now Sparky is not going to be able to pick him up, as he's, like I said, literally completely dead on the floor. He's going to have to fully recover unless he has something to try and pick him up, but I don't believe that something like that is allowed here. So he is just going to be downed, and the 4K2 is going to come through from Nightlight. An insane performance on the Blight, abusing the 4-gen that was given to him. He is now going to be looking at a very safe result for his team, only needing to get just 4 gens done to win the game. As now Betrayal is tasked with getting a 4K3 in order to take the set, which on Blight, I'm not going to lie, even on an S-tier killer, is super difficult, especially since the hug tech was removed. Like, a lot of these mechanics now, like back then, would have probably made this result a little bit more average, I guess you could say, because I'm not going to lie, man. I remember back in the day when people would always mention how Blight was so much of a stronger killer than Nurse, and it seems like Nightlight is just going to be waiting out every other survivor's death so he can safely hook Yatos without having to worry at all about the deli coming through. Of course, he could probably just down, but he doesn't want to take any risks. I honestly probably would maybe try it just to hook, because Sparky is still on the first hook, but maybe... Yeah, he is crawling farther bottom side, and there is not much that Nightlight can do about that. Say hooking him earlier and maybe like bringing him over towards 2 or 3 would have been a bit of a smarter play, but no risks are being taken right now by this killer. Very, very calm game, however. Super, they're just circling around that. But interesting build. We didn't see the full power of Dying Light. It did help, however, a little bit with reducing the amount of gens that were being progressed, but not much. Scourge as well, making sure that the heals are a little bit slower, but we did not see that many heals coming through here, ladies and gentlemen. We only really saw an FTP, and that is one of the biggest counters to Gift of Pain completely. But as Sparky is going to be confirmed dead, now Nightlight is going to be waiting for him to be completely risen to the entity, and he's now going to safely hook him in the middle of the map, securing the 4K2 for Eternal. Just an incredible match by Nightlight. I mean, shit, from experience alone, Nightlight Blight is very, very awkward. Like, his Blight is unlike many I've seen before. He plays it at, like, a weird playstyle that just works out perfectly. He's bouncing back and forth between the map, catching people off guard and out of position, which you could definitely see some examples of that in this game alone. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of the first game of the first set with Eternal versus Betrayal. We're going to be seeing you with Betrayal's Killer to see if they're going to be able to get that 4K3 or if Eternal survivors are going to be proving to be too much to handle. We'll see you guys after intermission and these hopefully short messages. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here now back in live with the second game of Eternal versus Betrayal of the first set. Blight on Suffocation Pit. We did see a 4K2 performed to us by Nightlight himself, who did a very solid result and had some very strong RNG. Now tasked with the Betrayal Killer, Licksmith's Tree. I have no clue who this is actually. I don't know if this is their actual name or if this is a little extra name. You know, this is a one big problem that a lot of COD players have, man. Sometimes you can't tell who it is. But it seems like our first chase that was very shortly onto Spitz is now going to be our new Eternal member, Hardwell, who has shown a lot of promise recently with, of course, their gameplay, not only on here as well, but they were also, if I believe so, a Trauma member who was a very, very good team around the time, considered to be one of the best in their prime. Good lord. Some solid plays here as Licksmith's Tree is actually trying to look for some very solid bump logic here. He's going to have an opportunity to grab a hit here soon, but some very good RNG here, especially with this double window that has been provided to him, although a little bit farther is actually very good to check spot. And it is going to get him a very long chase. A lot of opportunities presented to Licksmith's Tree. He's actually going to be finding a tag on top of Dan. Dan is going to be moving down towards the bottom side of the map, instantly supported by Zaka. Seemingly, Zaka is going to have sprint burst, not looking for that tag, and is now going to be going for it insanely late. Blind coming through from Dan, as Zaka is going to be taking his distance, but it seems like he's trying to get on top of him. Some solid plays coming through from both sides right now. His coordination is very, very prevalent, and they are going to be breaking this pallet, making sure that Dan's not going to get around completely scot-free. And he doesn't have much here to work with. 5-Rush is going to be presented, just going to be looking for this, trying to go for that blind. It seems like it is going to work out a tiny bit, but it is not going to get him out of the woods. And the first down of the game is going to happen at 4 gens, with Dan being the first hook. Very similar build here, ladies and gentlemen, except two very big differences. We are not going to be looking at Dying Light here, as it is going to be presented to the survivors individually. Or no, Dan was the first hook, so they wouldn't even have it in the first place. I'm pretty sure they can also tell that very well since they did not chase any other survivor besides them. Maybe it is going to be obvious to them as well that his Corrupt has been in play, and maybe they know about Undying. But right now there is one perk that I believe they don't know about just yet. A lot of assumptions to be made, but this team is definitely making sure that they are not going to be found out of position like this. Licksmith's Tree checking on the edge of the map for some reason, maybe going to be finding a survivor here. But this is awfully far from every single resource available. I don't think anybody would actually be there. Ooh, but we are going to be seeing the unhook onto Dan. Unfortunately, an early tag, so that is not going to be his mend or his borrowed time working out for him completely, as now the support's going to be coming through from Hardwell, making sure that the hit is going to be taken, making his way over towards Shaq. That's going to be another bounce. 5 bounces, tries to fake the vault, but it seems like that is not going to work in his favor, and Dan is going to go down. But he vaults the window to waste a little bit more time before he's picked up completely, making sure that he gets the most amount of value out of his chases for his team. But right now, we have reached our win condition, as one more gen is going to reach our tie, and the gen after reaching our win for Eternal. So a lot of plays are going to have to be made here very quickly by Licksmith's Tree, and it seems like having this bottom gen right here, I mean, it's a solid bottom 3 gen, but there is almost nothing to actually go off of here. So unfortunately, it seems like Licksmith's Tree is unable to keep the pressure on, especially while not having a 4. If he had a 5 gen, maybe this would have been possible. I mean, holding a 5 gen in general is also somewhat difficult. Getting a Volga isn't exactly something you really see every day now. Among the more rare games, but they are going to be popping the win condition gen. We've now reached our tie condition, as Dan is going to be on the hook in basement, second state, and we're just trying to secure the kill here. See if Licksmith's Tree can actually 4K. We're going to be seeing Zaka come in here. That's going to be the Undying, knocked out completely. As now they're actually going to be vaulting into the killer, trying to stay in front of him, but it seems like there's way too much time on Dan's clock for him to be able to do something like that and try and block him. As now the save is going to come through. As now Zaka is going to be 1-for-1ing, it seems, and is just going to be focusing on top of Dan, making sure that the slug is going to be useful. If he's not going to be able to make much here, that is going to be very difficult. Opting to run over to see if he can maybe guarantee the fastball. He's wasting a good amount of time with his borrowed time, making sure that the killer is completely pressured off this right now, but he's going to be bumping around. Support going to be coming through from Spitz, trying to get around him, and it seems like that's actually going to be able to, as Spitz is unfortunately not able to save his teammate. Pickup coming through straight on to Zaka, as it seems like that's either a pickup from a different survivor, which I would doubt because I believe Hardwell's working on a gen right now, but that's going to be Unbreakable also coming in from the support. Ooh, but it seems like no, instead there was another survivor to pick him up, but Zaka's going to be going down on top of the gen. Fitz found almost out of position. He has some resources to work with. He has a window, and it seems like a very slight mistake there was actually able to get that. But that's also some game sense coming through from Licks, making sure that he also understands where the survivor is at all times and not allowing them to grab him enough distance here. 5 versus presented to us. We're going to be moving in towards a killer. Quick Lunez there, as it's actually now going to be another Lunez, and he's unfortunately going to not be able to make that much. Just an insane use of Blight's techniques against them, which is a super huge advantage right now that these survivors are going to have. Zaka is still on the floor right now, nothing much to save him here. Hardwell going to be camping the pallet, making sure that he grabs that stun, and now he breaks it to see if he can guarantee this tag. Almost nothing to work with here, so it seems like the M1 is just going to happen unless somehow he makes this window. Tries to swing for it. I don't even know what the ping difference is here. But right now, the full heal onto Zaka is going to come through, it seems. Maybe using the med kit right there was definitely a huge play presented, but going around the wrong side of Shaq. It seems like he's going to be going back over towards the gen. Keep his pressure on, but more difficulties arise more and more towards both sides. As right now, he needs to try and pick up and try and get as many fast tags, or maybe even downs if he's able to, in a short amount of time. And not only that, the survivors are running out of resources to work with here. They only have windows on this bottom left side of the map, and it seems like right now he's just going to be completely ignoring him, going over to where he could potentially find Hardwell out of position. Ruin coming through, as that is going to be Zaka as well. So now definitely a lot of pressure has now been presented to the survivors. 2 people being injured, trying to medium vault. That's going to be 3 people on top of that. Now going to be able to safely commit to any chase that he pleases. It seems like, what? Lucky break? You have never seen it before. Someone taking a tag and opting to stay in the exact same Z-wall. But it seems like he is trying to waste time for his team, as there's also some progress here. So definitely not running into the gen is definitely a huge start, where the survivors tries to look for that down into Spitz, but it seems like he's not going to be able to get it that quickly, as he uses all 5 rushes. And even with Hardwell staying around to try and pressure this gen, this is going to be the down here very soon. I feel like maybe leaving this, going over for the pickup onto Zaka would have been a slightly better decision. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, remember that they're trying to play for this risky as hell. They do not need to do actual safe plays here, as they are already past their win condition. But Lixmas does an amazing job of keeping Eternal's pressure under control in this 3v1 situation, especially playing off at the 3-gen in general, and he guarantees his 4K1 almost no matter what. But now he's tasked with finding the survivors right now, as Zaka has just under, I'd say, a minute on his bleed out timer, so we are going to have to be a little careful, and we're going to have to use our brains here to try and see where these people are. But we do know Hardwell's general location, so we could definitely check up on top of that to see if maybe we can find him. But right now, Zaka is a huge priority as to where he could be. He could be going towards basement, or he could just be crawling up towards Spitz right now. But we have no clue where he is at this current moment. But Lixmas has to find him quick, otherwise he is going to lose a lot of ground here, unless he stays bottom side. If Zaka is able to make it to top side, I think it's safe to say he's going to bleed out. But now he's actually just going to be moving over. And he has not moved much. You've got to be, yeah, I was about to say, you got to be kidding me. There's no way you didn't see it. Very well played by Lixmas Tree and Betrayal in general. But Eternal is going to be taking the first set here. And of course, we're waiting for Zaka. Zaka might bleed out. This is actually a pretty huge potential. These survivors are unable to completely go out all the way. I would say so. They're definitely yeah, they're going to hit their skill checks. Eternal's actually still in this game right now. They're just going to have Zaka pull off some insane play, which unfortunately I think is going to be, I mean, I guess you could call it impossible. considering how it's just going to be a 1-for-1 until everybody goes down, and it's always going to be a 1v1 in this situation for Wade. Maybe he's playing around the fact that he doesn't have Deli. Maybe they're just not going to waste time. Oh, but Hardwell instantly going to be pulling it off. Completely unexpected, as it seems like he was waiting on top of Zaka completely. But it wasn't Zaka. Instead, it was going to be Hardwell, as Hardwell is going to be pulling himself off the hook. Now going to be trying to look for that complete save. But no, he's just actually going to be grabbing his chase. Making sure that he grabs the stun to grab the... Oh my god, this save. But it didn't work out in his favor. And unfortunately, Hardwell is going to go down. As now everybody can be hooked safely with zero pressure onto any of the survivors. Very well played by both sides, but unfortunately Eternal is unable to scrounge out that very final gen, and that is going to mark it for the end of this first set here officially, since I did end up saying that I was already at the end of the game, and yet still no, we were in it just for a little bit longer. But interesting build that was able to get him to the 4K. Very basic, should I say. Of course, you don't expect to see Gift of Pain much, but Ruin and Dying and Corrupt, yeah, those are kind of some textbook perks, some very solid perks in general that help you out in almost any situation possible. Well, as everyone dies, we're going to go ahead and see exactly what is going to go on in our second set here at Eternal versus Betrayal, brought to you by Wave League. We'll see you guys in a bit after our intermission and these hopefully short messages with these incredibly exciting games. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here now back and live at the one and only Wave League. We bring to you here the second set of Eternal versus Betrayal. It seems like it is going to be Eternal on the killer, which is going to be Zaka. I'm a little confused on how this ended up turning out the way it did. I'm pretty sure, well, usually it is the order of A, B, B, A, but of course it seems like Zaka's actually going to be playing killer first right now for Eternal, and right now he's just looking for a chase to commit to. He's looking to somebody, or for someone to find that's a little bit out of position. It is kind of difficult, no lie, to find that person. It seems like it's actually going to be presented to us. This guy is a little bit out of position. Yatos right now at a safe pallet, however, is going to now be playing the 50-50, and it seems like they are going to be playing that very smartly. Also, W King trying to see if they can make the pallet here, but it seems like Zaka did anticipate it very early on and are going to be... Look, that is a awkward gen. I have not seen that gen at all. Some new RNG presented to us. They're going to be running in a straight line. That is exactly how you want to play that situation always, because you do make every resource beyond that. But it seems like, unfortunately, they did end up taking a bit of a risk here and are going to be taking another resource presented to us. Chasing the survivor away, instantly teleporting back to pick them up without the pressure. Some very solid Demogorgon, hello, Dredge macro. They have similar names, except one has so many more decibels in the area. What is it? Syllables in the other. I'm so like thrown off. What am I talking about? Lock in. We're still in here and we're breaking locks. Right now we're going to be chasing after survivor scratch marks who are going to be going upstairs, but who is it? No idea who it is. They are going to be still vaulting this window, going in front of the survivors, trying to see if we can actually figure out who it was, but they are going to be stealthing them out completely. So we have no idea who it is, and not a single chase is going to happen besides this, as now we're going to be vaulting. No, instead going down. Catching on top of the survivor, who did end up just going into the God room. A very safe loop room indeed. Able to chain into many tiles if it was corrected. Right now we're just going back over towards the hook, and we're not finding anybody there trying to save. They are going to end up breaking Hex Devour Hope, however, so very, very I'd say iffy start for our killer here. However, they are going to be looking at a second state here very soon, blocking the door, making sure that nobody's going to be able to get in front of them. And somebody's going to have to rotate in around a different side, or something's going to happen. Teleporting over towards the top right now, trying to see if they can maybe actually find the survivors completely out of position, maybe seeing if there is someone nearby. They are going to hit the second state. No one able to grab that. It seems like Sparky was unable to grab the save in time. So saving right now in this very moment might be a little bit of a mistake, as we could be looking at a death here very soon. So they're just going to let him hang for a little bit longer. Ever since the loss of Bubba's, I'm uncertain of exactly where he went. I feel like he took a break from the, or no, he went to go play for a different team for a little bit, and then I'm pretty sure he's on break because I have not seen him around in a while. But I do remember he was the old Dredge on Eternal, a very strong Dredge indeed. Right now, Zaka is showing his strength, showing them that he is also a very good Dredge player. Because remember, we are talking about not only Zaka himself, but we're talking about a pretty solid killer player in general, knowing almost every single killer very, very well. Now he's just going to be going back, leaving Winter Edit on the floor, making sure that he can at least get over towards the survivors right now, using his undetectable status effect, maybe to quickly sneak up on top of somebody. Ooh, a little bit, slight mistake there, but he's moving a little bit too fast. Quickly teleporting over here, he's going to find the survivor on top of this gen. Unfortunately, going to be blocked out completely, just going to be pre-dropping this pallet, not going to be forcing this 50-50 completely, as he's just going to get a little bit of distance between him and the killer, which is very smart. It seems like we're going to be seeing somebody on top of this right now. We're going to be seeing Colin as well, but now Sparky's also going to be the complete focus of this chase, as he's trying to figure out who is it a safer bet to commit to. And it seems like going back over towards, oh lord. He finds Yatos here. He understands that this can't be Winter Edit. That is a fast-moving down survivor, if so. But now he's not going to be playing the God Palette at all. Instead, taking his distance, running over towards the top side of the map. And is now going to be looking at support coming through from Colin, as it seems like he's just going to be blocking him completely forward. Now doubling back. Quick tag there onto Colin, making sure that Sloppy Butcher's now going to be affecting 3 survivors, but they are going to be locking this completely. And what the... Did he mean to hop inside the locker, or what? He's going to be going down. Slug play presented to us right now. He's just going to be completely teleporting in front of him. Good double back by Yatos, able to catch him in top, but now it seems like his distance is going to be minimized and now going to be brought back directly to where we were before. But Lord, even with these 2 lockers right here, it is pretty hard to try and get through to them. Just trying to hold this teleport here. 50-50 going to be presented to us. Complete swing through, as Yatos is unfortunately going to lose it, as the animation, remember ladies and gentlemen, is not only cut out for us as this as the spectators, but it's also cut out heavily for the survivors. So Zaka did end up playing that very quickly, and Colin is going to get picked up after the first kill of the game, presented to us at 3 gens. As Winter Edit is not only reset, but is also going to be able to grab it and get his team to safety. Blocks here right now, as the window is, or sorry, the locker is still going to be blocked and locked as well. As the down is now given to us once more, as Colin hits the floor and is going to be our next fresh look of the game. Unless, okay, no, I was about to say, is he trying to look for Winter Edit? But no, he said he's actually going to be completely slugging. We do know one thing, that's a locked locker if you ask me. And again, as he moves over towards the piano room, he is going to see the survivor there very shortly, but yeah. Zaka taking a smoke break, it seems. Making sure, or maybe a drink break, I'd assume. It'll probably be a lot more realistic. That is the locked locker, making sure that he can move out back and forth. Unfortunately, both the lockers were locked. He's actually going to be able to break that one, though. But the survivors do know exactly where he is at that given moment, so they are going to be taking their distance, breaking all the locks, making sure that his late game is set up a lot stronger. Big lock there, giving a lot of distance to Sparky, as Sparky is going to be running away from the gen and completely out of sight from Zaka there for a moment. Some more distance is going to be provided to him as he's opting to play this fairly risky palette. Ooh, not a good situation you want to find yourself in right now, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like they did end up playing that there, what I would believe to be a bit of a mistake, but sometimes you just don't think about the plays that you could potentially make. Sparky going to be, no, not going to be Sparky, instead going to be Colin, as it seems like both people are going to be dropping completely, and Sparky's going to be found out of position, not going to be trying to vault in, instead going to be moving over towards that quick pallet, but is unfortunately not going to be able to make it, even with what I believe to be insane ping. So humongous start for our friend here, Zaka, as Betrayal is right now actually doing a very solid job at keeping Zaka under control. However, he is going to find a survivor nearly completely out of position. It seems like that is going to be Colin. Colin does have an entire hallway to use to his advantage, so he's not going to be caught out of the woods just yet. But right now, he cannot run into the killer if he's going to want to have a long and fruitful chase. For not only Winter Edit to maybe pick up Sparky and maybe even get a reset, but for us to just get a gen in general, as it seems like, unfortunately, Colin is unable to destroy the Remnant and is going to go down. As Sparky is going to be picked up instantaneously by Winter Edit, and it seems like we might be looking at a quick gen here soon, unless he's going to be able to get back over there quickly. Remember, Nightfall is still in action right now, so it is going to be very difficult for Zaka to not be able to move around the map. So a lot of care is going to have to be put in here. We're going to be seeing the Ultra Instinct coming out now on top of the one and only Sparky. Sparky caught in an incredibly rough pallet, just waiting for his teleport to come back. He's not going to be charging it, waiting for that 50-50. He runs back into the killer. But unfortunately in this situation, there's almost nothing you can do versus a Dredge that keeps their calm and keeps their cool. That is going to be the next down of the game, and another fresh hook added to the marks. As Winter Edit is one of the final remaining fresh hooks, we could be looking at a 4K3 here, ladies and gentlemen, which is a super incredible result for Dredge in general. What are we watching? Winter Edit, the insane. What? There is no way in hell I am looking at this right now. Zaka completely leaving the chase. What? Was that a mistake? Or was that Zaka giving them another chance? I have no clue. That seemed questionable, to say the least. Colin is going to hit the second state. We do know Sparky is in the area, but it seems like we are going to be chasing our healthy survivor. And we're not going to be using our distance to move forward away. Sparky's going to be grabbing the save. Chase is going to be focusing onto Winter Edit, making sure that every single survivor is going to be injured at this current moment. Right now, ooh, losing that 50-50 there. Winter Edit playing off of same ping is going to hold his check spot and is going to win that, grabbing an incredible amount of distance, but is not going to be forced into a little bit of an iffy 50-50. He's going to have to play this pallet. Ooh, no. Wait, nope, he is. And it seems like, unfortunately, he is going to lose that quick 50-50. But he's going to grab distance. He's going to move outside of the room, trying to teleport in front of him. But no, instead going to be teleporting over towards a nearby gen. And actually, even finding Sparky in the process. His pallet has not been broken, however, so he is going to make it safely and is not going to go down immediately. Zaka not going to be setting down the teleports. Just going to be moving over there. And it seems like we're going to be moving over towards our clock tower to build ourselves a house as the stun is going to come through. And the break is going to happen. Is he going to try and run outside? And it seems like that is not going to be the case. Instead, he's just going to hold him here. He's not going to play off of the 50-50. Blocks him from the pallet there completely. As Sparky goes down, he's trying to waste time. We do see the eruption coming through. He's trying to see exactly where the killer is going to go, as he does understand that he's probably going to be revealed here. I mean, it is a very, very common perk objective that was actually given to us by our lovely... Ooh. Nasty prediction there as he swings around, is going to abuse the ping versus Colin, and is going to grab that down as Winter Ed is one of the final remaining survivors that is currently standing. And remember, he is injured, so he can be found out here very easily, as it seems like he's going to be focusing on trying to stay in or on top of the survivors that were downed, so they aren't going to be picked up immediately. Ooh, opt into hook Sparky here instead of trying to look for a Winter Edit. Of course, to progress the stages in case somebody is going to be able to bleed out, it is very difficult to find them in such a situation. But now he's just going to be trying to use Killer Instinct to find out where the survivor is. Going to quickly be coming out here. Not scared at all. Working a gen completely under his nose, making it so it is a 4K2. Runs into the killer as he does not understand where the killer exactly is. But it seems like Zaka trying to go in front of him is going to end up running into a lock. And even though it's a little questionable what he's doing, he's still getting a pretty good result. Saving right now instantaneously. Sparky's going to be off and free, not trying to take a hit for Winter Ed, as Winter Ed is going to be making the window. Good communication used here by our survivors. And it seems like he's just waiting here for some reason. Oh, but he's... Oh, I see what's going on. He runs out completely to the room, not opting to play that 50-50, but is now unfortunately going to not lose it, but instead get an extra 2 vaults out of this window alone, which only wasted a second or two, but it was a pretty solid chase there to grab the pickup onto 2 survivors, as now it is not going to be as much pressure as it was presented to us before. Game still lasting quite a millennia, as we are not making much progress to end this game. We are getting some hooks, so that so the pressure is on. And we're definitely at least moving forward, but still moving forward very slowly. Zaka is trying to completely secure the 4K almost instantaneously. And there is, ooh, a lot of risk here. We're going to be dropping this pallet here, blocking him from the complete stairs, which is usually what you want to try and abuse in this state, but as of right now, seems like that is actually going to be the calm as he completely waits at the check spot to keep moving forward. However, he is unable to make this pallet, so he's just going to be forcing Locker, giving his team even more time to work on top of these gens. An insane play by Winter, not going down so fast, but right now, as he understands, he's just going to try and select here, trying to go over to that gen that he knows somebody's going to be pressuring. That's going to be, I believe, Colin. No, instead it's going to be Sparky. Sparky presented now with the difficulty of trying to loop him around the library. He's not going to be playing the incredibly risky 50-50 pallets, instead trying to move forward and WQ, which is not going to work in his favor, as now he's just looking for that last remaining survivor right now. Colin, once more, not, oh my lord, he locks in and he finds him directly in that spot. What is he doing? Daka, we want to go home. Kill him. What are you doing? Thank you. He's making more progress. He's finding it. He goes over towards Winter and Colin alone. But it seems like, oh, quick 50-50 win there. Winter is going to go down and is not going to be completely hooked as he leaves it to Colin to pick up Sparky. Bro. The amount of stalling that's going into this match alone is fucking ridiculous, bro. I don't know. I'm gonna be burnt out of this case. Hey, I did make a comment in a different tourney at one point. I got like received very negatively about Dredge sets, but I don't know, man. Right now it's looking pretty true. Looking for right now, Colin, as it seems like he's looking for places to teleport. There's a lot of lockers to go through on this map to try and find out where he is, but right now he actually could be in the basement. A play here could be getting Sparky to bleed out, which might reduce points by a tiny bit, but he does have a hook on top of him, so even if that was the case, it doesn't seem like there is much value on top of him as well. We're going to be running into the kill here very shortly. Distance given to us, playing a very risky pallet here as Winter is trying to W key his way back over towards a window. And he just completely gives up and is now going to be searching for a ghost again, because right now Colin is definitely not within bounds as he quickly goes over towards where he recently downed Sparky to see if he can maybe find the survivors with Killer Instinct, but he is not going to find anyone at all. I don't even know what to say anymore. This game's basically over. It's 4K too. It's just taking an eternity to end. Oh, but Colin completely found out of position. Now going to finally be seeing the down onto him. But will we be seeing the down onto Sparky, ladies and gentlemen? That is a complete question. There is a play here, however, that I could be missing. I don't understand. Zaka's been playing incredibly weird, but it seems like he is trying to avoid something on purpose. I don't know if it's much. He tries to use Killer Instinct, trying to see if he can find the survivor nearby. He's leaving Winter on the floor and is now actually going to be finding Sparky working on the gen. An awful amount of progress as unfortunately he's not going to be able to kick it as Sparky's going to be completely hanging on to this. And he says, fuck you, get off the gen, let me kick this shit. And he's going straight back towards Winter because he does know where Sparky is almost immediately. I think so. Hello? I don't know, man. Super, super weird. Very awkward. We're gonna have to see how this is given to us. But as of right now, it seems like he's just gonna let the survivors bleed out. He's unfortunately not gonna be able to pick up Sparky here in time, I believe, unless he goes over right now, last second, but I think that's gonna be a tiny bit difficult. Yep, and as Sparky is going to bleed out completely, we are going to be hearing the hatch directly on top of Clock Tower completely open up. We're going to be closing that very quickly. They're just going to let Winter bleed out. Good lord. Oh no. We're going to be killing him right here with Tamori to finish off the match. 4K2 for Eternal. Finally, as it has been, and it's like, I don't even know. They just completely DC. Honestly, I don't blame them. That has got to be the most, like, the longest game I've ever seen. But let's not waste much time, because I'm not going to lie, guys. I've already gotten burnt down from that match alone. We're going to see how Betrayal is going to respond to this result on Killer with 4K3 as the win condition. Once again, we'll see you all after our intermission and these hopefully short messages. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here now back in live after a very short delay, unfortunately. Honestly, I'm happy we got our game through. In the end, I'm not going to complain about it much, but we are going to be seeing the potential final game of Eternal versus Betrayal right now, with Eternal 1-0 in the lead. As of right now, Winter Edit tasked with getting a 4K3 to win it for his team to be able to actually grab the tie result, and of course 4K2 in case he does want to confirm it. So Eternal's only goal is just to pop 4 gens basically, and yeah, it's the exact same win condition as the Blight set. So maybe on an easier killer will it be easier to do, but it is completely up to Winter Edit to show exactly how this is going to end out for the survivors right now. Nightlight is going to be the very first chase of our game, and it seems like he's going to be looking for an opportunity to double back, but instead he's just going to be W-keying forward, taking this pallet. Quick pre-drop here. He is playing the new survivor, which I do like to see, as the new survivor is actually a very solid look. I like the new survivor. They look cool. But let's go ahead and actually, we do see this just in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry to mention I wasn't paying attention much since I did go AFK for a little bit in our intermission. But the win condition is actually 4K2 and 4K1 is tied due to Eternal's unfortunate delay. As I did mention that there was a delay, I didn't know that Eternal actually ended up receiving a deduction there, so they are going to have to pop 5 gens in order to quickly take this 2-0, which they are doing a very solid job of already progressing towards that. First in the game is going to pop, trying to see some help coming through from Hardwell, but unfortunately that's not going to work out. Zaka showing himself almost out of position. That could have been very bad, as that could have been a down, but it seems like he is blocking him from going basement, which is definitely amazing for the survivors. Honestly, taking a tag there would have also definitely got him out. But looking at this build, that was a nasty crack, no lie. But holy shit. Looking at this build, we are going to be seeing a very basic but more fast-paced build. Misses a swing on the locker there. 2 gens are going to pop right now. We're reaching our tie condition, or in our wind condition, very fast, as the wind condition is actually going to be presented to us in 1 more gen. As long as he gets the pace and the pressure on heavily, he will probably be able to keep himself in the game. Nightlight going to be running over towards this risky pallet. It seems like he's just going to be very quickly trying to mind game this. He does grab an incredible amount of distance against Nightlight. However, he is going to make this pallet no matter what, and because this is a god pallet, and even with that stun alone, good lord, this it's given to him is going to be wild. Let's see how he uses it, and it seems like he's going to be using it to run over to the exact same side that Winter Edit is going to move towards, but instead he's going to teleport to interrupt the gen, get himself a little bit more time, as we're going to be chasing Dan the Man right now around the piano room. Going to be blinding there quickly to see if he can throw him off, as the distance was actually going to be used to get out of the room. Unfortunately, it is not going to completely avoid the tag, as Winter Edit knows how to maneuver around the flashlight, and is actually going to be looking for another tag. 2 people currently affected by Sophie Butcher is going to be using Ruin to, of course, passively regress these gens. It seems like maybe Dan is just going to be working that gen completely uncontested, as right now Zaka is one of the only survivors. But besides that, now Hardwell, as Zaka was found out healing Nightlight. Just a lot of pressure on top of these survivors that they are going to have to fight through. I'm not gonna lie, the new survivor looks bald because of Nightfall. That's a little awkward. But that is now our win condition presented to us right now, as it seems like both survivors and every single survivor actually has a buddy, opting to play this somewhat like twins used to be. But right now, oh, wait a minute. Playing an incredibly risky room right now. Dan is probably not going to be going for the drop. Instead, he's going to play the 50-50. He loses it! Good lord! Trying to go for that teleport there and instantly swing, but he did it way too fast, and he ended up swinging ahead of time, which is going to be losing a down there. as it seems like right now he's just going to be playing it perfectly. Swings for it, ends up faking it. Zaka doing an insane amount of loops here as Wintered is making many slight mistakes, but ends up getting an insane Pokos hit right through the pallet, and is now going to be looking at his next fresh hook on top of Zaka. That's some progress, man. That is some very, very solid progress for our killer. But he needs to speed up the pace massively if he's going to want to think about 4King Eternal here. Especially since the Heavens has basically graced him with said penalty. Not going to be able to make that drop. Dan is going to be using his distance well. And is not going to risk much now. I do think a very, very bad situation here is... Ooh, yeah, somebody getting found out like that. He is interrupting resets left and right, and thanks to Sloppy Butcher, they are getting reduced by a pretty large amount. Zaka is not going to be looking at a healthy state here. Not until very soon, I would assume. But right now, Hardwell is going to be tagged. 3 survivors currently affected to Sloppy Butcher. Going to be doubling back into the killer, it seems. Which I believe would be a mistake, but it seems like he's not going to be worrying about it too much. He has many resources to work with here. Presented to this. Now going to be taking the tag here. Maybe going to be opting to play for that teleport, as it seems like he might just be called. No, he's not. He's going around. Tries to swing for it as he just goes into the corner, and now the win condition is completely out of sight. As we're instead just going to be looking at the tie condition to maybe keep this game at a 1-0 and have to go into the tiebreaker to see if the tides will change. But right now he's going to be dropping down. That's going to be the down on top of Dan, as now 2 survivors are going to be slugged right now. Focus going to be going over towards Zaka, or I would assume maybe Nightlight, but if he is going to have to chase Nightlight, that chase has to be incredibly quick. Oh, and he was on the other side of the wall, found out over here. That's going to be Nightlight. He's looking for that quick tag, ends up swinging directly through the pallet. That's going to be the tag onto him as well. Nightlight expecting him to try and play off a ping a little bit more, but the final gen is going to pop, and Eternal is going to close out the game with 2-0 versus Betrayal. But it seems like Betrayal right now is still in the fight. And remember, we are still in the game right now. Both survivors are going to be down. Now the site's going to be focusing on top of Zaka. Going to be looking for maybe a potential 4-man slug to see if he can 4K at 0 here. Because remember, even though you are not looking at very good odds to win against Eternal, getting a 4K though is still incredibly impressive and a very good feat for any player anywhere. Now, not going to be chasing after Zaka, just trying to look for our survivors here. Double pick coming through onto Hardwell, and now Nightlight is going to be once more in chase. Now going to be moving over to the back of the room, wasting more time as he's just going to be going in deeper. Drops that pallet as he does understand that this killer is just playing off of ping more and more, trying to use it, or I don't even know what that playstyle is called. You can more or less call it the anti-ping, the way that he also plays around pallets. Just opting to swing for everything, even though the chances are you won't make it, but they will expect you to respect the pallet. That's definitely a very smart decision indeed. However, 3 survivors are going to be up and ready, as Dan is going to be fully reset as of right now. No one on the gates just yet, but we are checking on top of it just in case, because there could be somebody nearby. Scratch marks also in our way, as we're now chasing behind a survivor who has been revealed to us by Undying there very, very shortly. Now, once again, having to teleport, not going to be able to get to that pack or locker right there, but instead, now going to be focusing on top of Nightlight so he doesn't get 4 outed. But Nightlight's just going to be waiting here. Nightlight understands that he's going to get blocked, and right now he's just trying to make him avoid getting there. But unfortunately, that's not going to work in his favor. Dan completely out and free, not going to be taking attacks. As now Nightlight is going to be affected by the mending status effect, trying to predict that he's going to be going forward, is now going to die on top of the classroom, even though he tries to force the pallet, and he ends up hitting the desk instead, as he looks over in complete shock, thrown off completely by how it works. They're trying to lock these lockers to see if they can make, or just to avoid it, because Nightlight is dead, unfortunately. 1K for us here at Wave League on Betrayal's side. Unfortunately for our friend here, Winter Edit, he is not going to be looking at a 4K, and that's the win condition. Good lord. No way! Completely freeze traps and runs directly around him. But an insane game here for Eternal. Having a little bit of fun despite their penalty. They were able to pull through without much trouble presented to them. Unfortunately for Betrayal, however, they did put up an insane fight. And Betrayal showing off a lot of skills here. Definitely how much they've practiced and how far they've come under many names. Because I'm not going to lie, we've seen a very similar roster like Betrayal under many different names. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Wave League. Eternal versus Betrayal. Eternal's going to be moving forward with a 2-0. Very huge results, very good Blight plays, very good Dredge plays. But let's go ahead and end our stream here by giving a big thanks to you guys, our viewers. Love you guys. Thanks for watching our streams and showing us all the support and just being around. We wouldn't be anything without you. Our streamers, especially Brian for streaming this game. Very huge shout out to him, as well as Sinter for reffing, our commissioners for hosting a league like this, and just the entire staff team for doing things like this. And especially big thank you to the players for giving us such entertaining gameplay to watch all of the time. But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Wave League. I was your caster, Sko, also known as Spectral, and we'll see you guys in the next one.